Today I'm going to show you how to remove plywood underlayment. So what is plywood underlayment? It's a 1/4 inch sheet of plywood, typically applied over old wood flooring. And the reason you lay that down in the first place is to create a nice level surface for either linoleum or luxury vinyl plank flooring, to avoid just waviness in the floor. So typically people will lay down 1/4 inch plywood underlayment, maybe use a self-leveling compound, and then lay floors on top of that. If you're wondering what this looks like in real life, come over here. We're working in the kitchen right now. There was actually 2 levels or 2 layers of the peel and stick tile. I took the first layer off. We have the second layer here, and then we have the plywood underlayment underneath that layer of peel and stick tile. So this is what it looks like. This is what we're dealing with, and the goal today is to remove both the layer of peel and stick tile as well as the plywood underlayment. So why do we want to remove plywood underlayment in the first place? 2 reasons come to mind. The first, you want to refinish the floors underneath the plywood underlayment. So that's what we're actually doing in this case. So we're gonna refinish these hardwood floors, and these floors actually go all the way through the kitchen. So that's why we want to remove this peel and stick tile as well as the underlayment underneath. If that's not the case in your situation, the second reason is to decrease the transition from room to room. So say you're going from a dining room or a living room into a kitchen, or really any space, you want to decrease the transition from room to room as much as possible. So if you have that underlayment that's a 1/4 inch, then say you wanted to do tile in the room, then you add your mortar, then you add your tile on top of that. So now you're looking at 3/4 of an inch to an entire inch transition from room to room, which one can look a little bit funky and just not overall be the most functional transition from room to room. Here's what you're gonna need: a circular saw, a flat bar, hammer, work gloves, eye protection, and ear protection. Our overall plan here, we're going to use our circular saw, and we're going to set it to a 1/4 of an inch, so it's just barely going to break through that underlayment. What we're going to do is take the saw and run it in a grid pattern across this whole floor. That way, when we're trying to pry up the floor, we're only fighting with a couple square feet instead of the entire floor. We have our first strip of underlayment removed. You can see it's a nice straight line. And then removal of the floor is actually really simple too. So you can see we just have a couple of squares. Again, we use that circular saw to make that grid pattern. And now we have nice easy chunks to take out to the dumpster. A couple things to note about how the underlayment is secured to the floor underneath. I've seen a couple different ways. I've seen just nails, I've seen just staples, and I've seen a combination of glue and nails or glue and staples. In this case, all we're seeing is nails. So you can see there's a nail right here, and then if you just look around, there's some elsewhere too. This is the best case scenario. It's pretty easy to take up. If it's glued and nailed or glued and stapled, it's a little bit more difficult. It still can be done, and this still is the best way to do that. It's just takes a little bit more elbow grease to get that floor up after it's been glued. And there you have it. We got the entire plywood underlayment ripped up and removed in just over 10 minutes. Once you get going, it goes pretty quick. So that's all I got. Take care.